They're going to be showing us their dot cards. They're also going to go over kind of how they pick their colors out of 266, and then maybe some favorite mixes or washes if there's time. So that's kind of probably what we'll do over the next couple of months, is have the different brand ambassadors from all over the world. Many I think you have not met. So you'll be able to meet them in their part of the world and see the colors that they've chosen and why they've chosen it. So if you have questions to that end, please ask them as we're or as they're doing their demonstrations. We're going to begin with Angela. We're going to do 25 minutes with a 5-minute wrap up, and then Ashley with a 25 and a 5-minute wrap up. So thank you both, Ashley and Angela, and thank you everybody else for joining. Angela, would you like to start?
Yes, with pleasure. Hi, everybody. This is Angela from Girona, Spain. And here is, I'm going to present the colors in my dot card. And here they are over the wash that I did. So it's like a, you see, it's like a swatching. It really helps me to, when I'm doing a painting, just to check, because sometimes, I don't know, it's not so clear in my mind. So I just check these swatches, and I can see exactly what the color looks like. So if you can see here, you see some are more granulating than others, and some have like 2 pigments in it, like this one, or the Moon Glow has 3 pigments in it. And I chose which one to use according to the moment. And Rose of Ultramarine also has 2 pigments. These are colors that I love. And the general idea why, when I was posed this question, it was really, really difficult to choose, because you say all of them are nice and all the colors are nice, but which ones, in my case, because I like to paint what emotions I feel, they were more connected with the emotions that I could express with these colors. Also the characteristics, but especially how I could express what I felt. And these colors, if you see, now with the time, I find 2 or 3 that I'm also in love with or more, because I cannot be restricted only to these. But these especially have a special place in my heart, because they really express some mood in me. For example, when I'm feeling very, I don't know, very happy or expressive, then I can use more the warm colors, and then complement with their complementaries, like red with this green phthalo green or phthalo turquoise. And when I am feeling more, I don't know, more a deeper feeling or more meditative, I use more the blues. You see, I've got 3 blues here and Moon Glow. So it depends exactly what mood I feel. And these 18 colors allow me to choose between them to represent how I feel at that moment. For example, here is the last one I did today was this one with warm colors. You see, with different reds, there are the pyrrole orange and the pyrrole red. They are 2 colors in my dot card. You see, the pyrrole red and the pyrrole orange. They are like a gradation of colors. And then darker and cooler is the permanent alizarin crimson. Okay, this is this area here. But not only that, here there is hematite violet here on top. I love this color. Why? Another characteristic I love about the colors is if they granulate or not. And in my dot card, if you see in my dot card, there are at least 3 granulating colors. Lunar black, extremely granulating, hematite violet genuine, a cascade green, and also ultramarine sometimes, depending on how you use it. So, and I think here I used these, the rose of ultramarine here at the bottom.
I love that. Love it.
And here the opera pink. Here in this case, opera pink, also a bit here, opera pink. But you see how well it mixes with all of them. And also, of course, this is quinacridone gold. I mean, out of these, which one would call more your attention more? Which one, is there anybody that uses any of these colors that has had an experience with them? And how would you use it? For me, this could be used for like buildings or landscapes, because I'm more of a landscape painter. And for example, I love the sea. So in that case, I like to use the blues. You see here, I've got the ultramarine blue. There is some granulation here. Can you see the effect of the granulation? And these effects, because, you know, I'm not so much a representational painter, but more, as I said, an emotion or a feeling. This, I love what the effect it did here. How did I achieve it? Well, with pigment and a lot of water and letting the water run. So some colors allow me more to do this. Like, for example, the lunar blue. You see, lunar blue has this marvelous characteristic of the granulation. It's something I look for. Other people don't look for granulation because they like more surfaces or more, I don't know, more representational. And or if you paint like a skin, a portrait, or if you paint certain objects, you don't want it to granulate. But for me, because this is like, for me, this is a bit like the under the sea, you see, and the waves. So this color, this strong color is a phthalo green. Phthalo green, and here both of them are mixed, phthalo green and phthalo blue. And it reminds me of the sea where I live, the Mediterranean Sea. And buff titanium helps me a lot to make the colors a bit more subdued. And this is the green, the rich green gold. The color also of some grasses here. I told you I like a landscape. So for me, all these colors represent a beautiful landscape that we have in my area. And here there is another with using the same colors, different compositions. I think, I'm not sure. No, it was done like this. This is phthalo turquoise, another beautiful, beautiful, rich color. To me, the colors that I really love or I feel connected with are the colors that are like shouting, look at me, look at me. So that's why I have two phthalos and I have got the pyrroles. Or the opera pink. Maybe other painters are not so interested in that, but I am. And this is again, same combination. You see how many combinations you can make? And with the hematite and the lunar violet, I like the lunas a lot. Lunar blue, lunar black, lunar violet. Here, look, this is like a cave under the sea for me. I know that Caroline is fantastic painting the undersea scenes, but this is not. Sorry?
Your painting reminds me of an aerial view of the Great Barrier Reef.
Ah, you see, thank you.
I was thinking the same thing, that it looked like I'm looking up from Google Earth down on some beautiful seascape. I love that.
I saw the same thing.
Really?
Mhm.
funny, thank you, because I hadn't seen this, but really, as you say it, it is true. And this could be some animals or some islands. Yeah.
Gorgeous, beautiful colors.
Yes, and this is only the blues and some greens with buff titanium. Buff titanium is a beautiful color, beautiful, and it mixes so well. And it makes softer the tones, softer. Someone is asking what color is on the upper left here. There's a mixture of phthalo blue and phthalo green. Here there is more blue, and here there is green. And here where they meet, where the phthalo blue and the phthalo green meet, is this beautiful turquoise. And because I like my Mediterranean Sea, but also when I went to Queensland, the fantastic colors of the sea there, they inspire me so much. And that's how I like to paint, you know. That's why I chose these particular colors. Otherwise, I might have chosen non-granulating colors. But to me, this gives a movement. You see, the granulation gives a movement to the image that I see. And for me, it's important to paint and that it's open. I don't give the representation finished. It's just you can interpret what you want. And it speaks to you in different ways. To each person, it speaks differently. But maybe everyone sees a sea scene here, hopefully. So I want to ask you something. When you feel happy, what colors do you use, for example? Can anybody tell me?
I use all those beautiful blues and greens just like you do because I love painting water, which is very blissful.
And that gives you a feeling of happiness?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's why I love your undersea paintings, my dear. Anybody uses these reds, Pyro reds? I know that Stella Canfield does. I don't know if she's here, but she uses all the Pyros, Pyro reds, Pyro orange. And this in this painting, in my painting with the red, you cannot really see a lot of power, but Stella really does it in a very powerful way. So that is for me an expression of joy and happiness and a lot of passion. And so together with the blues and these reds, I think that they cover many parts of my personality and the way that I feel. But sometimes lately, you know, the funny thing is that once you have these colors, then you start discovering new ones. And you see in this painting, for example, that is another granulating color that I've discovered lately. It's the green apatite. So I wish there were more colors in the dot card because I would totally incorporate this, or lavender. I wish there were 30 colors in the dot card.
This is very beautiful green, Angela.
Excuse me?
Very beautiful green. I love it.
This one, the green apatite. Yes.
Yeah. Usually I use Jadeite and Cascade green. I also love those two.
Oh yes, I use Cascade green. I didn't say it, but here in this painting,
Jadeite.
Green. Yes.
And I also love the mixes that you did, especially this blue one. It also reminds me in the seascape. It gives me such a nice, relaxing mood.
Yes.
Very
yes.
beautiful mixes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Angela, did you consider the staining qualities of some of the colors when you chose them?
For me, the fact that they are staining is not particularly my intention, but it doesn't really bother me because, as Michael explained very well in his presentation last week, the staining, the phthalos are very staining, but you can lift them. These Daniel Smith phthalos, you can lift them if you want. So there is some phthalo turquoise mixed. and it doesn't really create a stain so that if I want to mix it with others, it will stay there. And no, they are staining, but they will mix well with the others, and you can even remove them. So, and this also a very nice color, the phthalo yellow green. So maybe another day I will speak about this. And just another painting to show you the granulation of the blues that you can achieve with the
Mira,
ultramarine.
ya por otro lado. Se
Yeah.
preguntaron. Ángela,
Sí. ¿Quién es?
Eduardo, ¿cómo estás, Ángela? Esos verdes fabulosos que has trabajado son similares a los que pintaste en la demo de Bolonia, pero con mucho más soltura.
Oh, these ones, estos?
Sí, sí.
Yes. He's saying that I gave a demo in Bologna and I used many of these colors because now lately I am taken by the greens, you know. It's similar. He says they were looser, definitely. Sí, tienes razón, Eduardo. Es parecido, la escena parecida y con los mismos colores. Yes.
Ese monte está hermosísimo, Ángela, me encantó.
¿Quién eres?
Ah, Verónica de México, hola.
Ay, hola, Verónica, mucho gusto. Gracias. No sé si queréis preguntar algo. She's saying she loves it very much. Here.
No, I
say-
love the way you move the color. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you so
Angela,
much.
in the painting you showed with the blue and the browns, was that the hematite in there?
The blue and the browns here in the island, in the
Yes.
sea,
Last one you said you had up. Yes, that one.
there is the hematite.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
And another color I love very much, which is, hematite burnt scarlet. There's a lot of hematite scarlet and a lot of buff titanium. Here, under here, there's a lot of buff titanium.
And
Hematite
in
burnt-
this, in
Yeah.
your blues, you have ultramarine, and what's making the granulation in there?
This is the phthalo, no, that's manganese blue, I think. And the turquoise, the teal blue.
Okay.
And the buff titanium, if mixed with other colors, it gives them, because buff titanium also is a granulating color, especially when mixed with certain, if it's very wet, then you get some so you make other colors granulate, which is a beauty, really.
Beautiful.
Angela, I've noticed when you paint that you like to use your paint fresh from the tube as opposed to dry from the palette. Do you think it makes a difference?
Absolutely, because I cannot, you see, if I show you my colors here, see how they are? They have to be fresh. I cannot use, it would be much easier to transport, to have to put colors in a palette and then paint from there. But then they are not juicy. They wouldn't run so much. It's impossible to make this painting, for example. It's impossible to make this painting with colors that are on the palette, like the godets. What do you call them? The pans. Because they wouldn't have pans. Yes, they wouldn't run. They have to be. All the paintings that I did here are fresh colors. So I pour them here, and if they get wet, if they get dry, I wet them again. They revive very well. But if they are dry, maybe, but not so much, not so much. So in my particular case, I need to paint with fresh colors. That's a very nice question. Thank you, Caroline.
Angela, would that be because of the gum arabic quantity in the tube?
Oh, that I don't know about the technical part, but when it's drier, you need to add a lot of water to make them run on the paper. That's my experience. So they are very concentrated when they come out of the tube. You can even use them pure, you know, the mass tone, and mix them on the paper. And it could be that the gamma Arabic is drier. I'm not sure. That I think that John could be answering that question. But as a user, when I use the fresh color, like here, look how fresh it is. So it runs automatically on wet paper also. So here there is an important factor. If you are interested in having these runny effects, you need to use a lot of water, but not too much also. It's just having the right amount of water and then the gravity also. So the right proportion of water. Here, for example, it's light and there is only one wash. I could work over it, but I think I would spoil it, so I'm leaving it. But if I use more concentration of color, then there are more contrast. And you need to do that fresh, sometimes pure from the tube.
Angela, I have a question for you. Can you hear
Yes.
me?
Yes, yes.
So with all of your traveling and all of the exposure you have to so many other artists, how
Yes.
does that affect your color palette?
My color palette, let's say I use, because I'm very much in touch with Nicolas, now I use more maybe lunar blue and lunar black than I used to. Yes. You cannot help it because you can see the beauties of that. But it doesn't mean that I don't use the other colors. In all the paintings you've seen, I hardly use lunar black. But these are that I have incorporated in my palette. And also with Michael, when he comes to Girona and paints here, he also, there's a color that I've discovered from him. Well, maybe the phthalo green I hadn't discovered, so that I incorporated in my palette. And also the Perlin Violet. That's another color that I love. So from each artist, you incorporate something. And neutral pink from Alvaro Castañed maybe, and others, of course, all the others. But that's a color he uses a lot. So yes, they have an influence. And from Caroline, of course, the turquoise and the blues. Yeah, that has influenced me a lot, Caroline. Thank you.
We have had some questions on the chat on the Zoom side, and some people are asking about if you layer your granulation. And we had another question just recently, do you ever scrub your color into the paper, and do you pour the paint and or use brushes? Thanks, Angela.
Okay, so do I scratch? No. I can have some lines with the pen knife. I can do just a 2 minutes just show of how the color, if you want me to do a particular color. But sorry, what were the other questions? Can you explain? Can you repeat them?
The question was, do you scrub the color into the paper rather than scratch? More scrubbing, which is a repetitive motion. And then the next question was, do you layer granulation? And do you ever pour your paints or use brushes?
No, I don't think I pour. It's like that. I paint like that, you see? And then I use the inclination of the color of the paper to mix the colors. But no, I don't do the scrubbing. It's more letting the color flow on the paper.
Angela, would you tell us what colors you're adding, like the phthalo turquoise?
Phthalo turquoise, this is ultramarine, and this was, oh, let me think. Cannot remember, but this is the yellow, what's it called? The quinacridone gold. So let me use now I'm going to use the lunar blue. Let me see. I think, where is it? Where's the lunar blue? No, this is another one. You want to see maybe the effect of the phthalo blue and the phthalo green. That's one of my favorite mixes. This is phthalo blue, okay? And the phthalo green. Phthalo green is very strong, but combined with the blue, it is amazing. Can you see how the color, because it is inclined, the color also runs on its own. This is alizarin. And let me use pyrrole orange. So if I incline them, as long as the paper is wet, I can incline them, and so they mix and they run.
So Angela, what kind of paper you have, and what is it, very rough or?
No, this is, I tend to use cold press paper. In this case, it is Fabriano.
Mhm.
I like also very much the Bauhom paper
Mhm.
or the Arch. This
Thank
is
you.
block off by Fabriano. And sometimes I splash the color like this, for example. Another color, let's see, for example, this one.
It's
The
very
rose.
powerful.
I do like that, see? And it mixes. Very controlled, as you can see, very, very controlled.
Angela, what ratio paint to water are you using there?
Maybe 70-30, 70 paint and 30 water.
Thank you.
All right. Angela, thank you very much. That was awesome to see your mixes and your colors.
I want to
Thank you.
thank John for making these wonderful colors. Thank you, because we get so much pleasure out of them. So thanks a lot.
You're so welcome. Thank you very much. So with that, thank you, Angela. We're going to now go to Ashley.
Okay.
It's a lot to do in 30 minutes, so thank you very much, both of you.
Hello. I was just having fun playing with Angela's colors, actually. Just wanted to show really quick. These are Angela's colors.
Very nice.
How fun. So it's a huge contrast to the colors I'm going to be showing. Anyway, this one's fun. This is opera pink and pyrrole orange, I think. Anyway, so fun. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you, Ashley.
All right. Got a lot of earth tones to show you guys today. I've talked about this a couple of weeks ago, so some of this might be repetitive for a few of you, but repetition is good, I guess. That's what I hear. You wouldn't believe it, but green is my favorite color. So do you see green anywhere on this? So actually, Cascade Green is probably my favorite Daniel Smith color. I love the Rose of Ultramarine. I love, what else? I love Quinacridone Pink. I love those like exciting, like the Imperial Purple. And so when it was time for me to choose 18 colors for my dot card, and boy, what an honor that was. An honor and a huge, it feels heavy because you've got, you got some choices to make there. So, this is the whole line. I was actually I printed this out the other day so I'm making some swatches for my Instagram. So anyway, that's a lot of choices. And so I kind of decided, you know what? maybe someday they'll let me make a second dot card. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if I have that honor and privilege. However, I decided to go ahead and choose the colors I have been using for my pet portraits. So I do all kinds of work. I love landscape. I love nature. I used to paint cactuses like obsessively. I have all these on the opposite end of my studio. I have all these cactus paintings all over my wall. So anyway, I paint a lot of things, but over the past probably 2 years, I've really been going crazy with the pet portraits. So I decided, based on the colors I have, I kind of have a palette for everything. So this would be the palette that I use for my pet portraits. So these are kind of the colors that were coming back over and over. And I think there's like 30 something colors on this wheel. Side note, this is the Stephen Quiller porcelain palette color wheel. So you've got your primaries. You got your primary yellow, primary red, primary blue. Anyway, it's a really fun palette if you're into like the mixing and everything. So anyway, I basically was just finding the colors that were repeating over and over again in my work. So I keep a sketchbook. Every time that I am going to do a pet portrait, I'm going to pull out my sketchbook and I'm going to choose my colors first. And so this is a sketchbook from, that was last year, February to October last year. So here we've got me planning this one. This is not a pet portrait. Nobody owns a buffalo. I mean, maybe somebody owns a buffalo. One could dream. But anyway, this was one that I was doing and I wanted to plan it. This is watercolor ground on wood, by the way. It was really, really fun. So as I was planning that out, these are the colors. I've got burnt tiger's eye, Van Dyke brown, burnt sienna, and then I ended up at the end throwing in the transparent red oxide, which you can kind of see. It's such a great rust color, and yes, it is on my dot card because it is fantastic. I saw thank you, Laurie, for the compliment. That's very sweet. And then here was another pet portrait. This is actually for a white dog. And this was my first time. I can't see if I can show it to you. I have since done a couple of white dogs. And as we know in watercolor, white is never white, right? You use the white of the paper and then you kind of do like a negative painting using shadow. Let's see here. Got my iPad. I can show you guys some ideas here. Here's a white dog. Actually, this is our dog Clover. She passed away last year, unfortunately. But yeah, these colors I noticed were coming up over and over again. And I'm going to tell you, neutral tint has been, I run through neutral tint like crazy. I keep having to buy neutral tint. Hold on one second. Let me mute my phone. It's echoing. Driving me crazy. Okay. So we've got a lot of neutral tint for noses, for dark spaces, things like that. Let's see, here's one. Hematite genuine, a lot of hematite in this one. That was really fun. And this dog actually looks like this. This dog actually looks like a Muppet. I'm telling you. Very fun. Here's another white dog. Another color that keeps coming up in my pet portraits is transparent yellow oxide. And you can see that here. And this dog is so cute. How cute is that dog?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so let's see. Okay. Oh, I don't even know why I was showing you that painting on my iPad. Here's the actual painting. It looks much better in real life. Neutral tint. I believe, let's look. Thank you. Thank you so much.
That's amazing.
Potter's pink is fantastic for tongues, noses, gums, anything that's, got that like earthy pink look to it, because it's got texture, it's got granulation, it's kind of muted. I love the Potter's Pink. So anyway, I'm kind of going all over the place, but I just wanted to get back to kind of how I ended up choosing my colors. So I got this sketchbook, and what I did was I went back through. This is just all of, I was testing. Yep, here's Clover when I painted her. And just the colors that kept coming up over and over. And what I did was I got a piece of paper and I just started writing down all the colors that I was using. So we've got lavender, Potter's Pink, neutral tint, buff titanium, burnt sienna, Payne's gray, Payne's gray, Payne's gray, neutral tint. So much Payne's gray and neutral tint kept coming up for me. And then, so yeah, I wrote them all down and then I had to narrow it down to 18, which just about killed me. And this isn't even that big of a list. I mean, I had to get rid of a few Moonglow. I did not choose Moonglow for my dot card. And I think my reasoning at the time, I wish I would have written this down, but I really feel like my reasoning was so many people have dot cards and that's such a popular color. I really wanted to create a palette that someone could go to if they are into animals, you know, painting pets, painting animals. And so these colors are fantastic for any of that. Okay. I really wanted lunar black on my dot card. I do use lunar black because of the texture that it gives. And I almost put lunar earth. I mean, I just saw what you said, Sue. You can't, it was so hard. It's agony. It's agony. She said, Sue said I couldn't choose 18. And I'm like, yep. I think I had it down to, yeah, 32 colors. I basically had to. I felt like it was like, you remember that show where people got kicked off the island or voted off the island? That's kind of how I felt like I was getting rid of my children or something. I don't know. Yeah, so I went back through my sketchbook. If you don't keep a sketchbook, I highly recommend it. It's just a great way to keep track of. You can look back and see, oh, what did I use for this painting? What did I use for that? And I'm super organized, and that's just how I work. And not everybody's that way. Some people just want to play and be free, and I do that all the time. I have paintings all over my studio that's just play. So that's why I decided to make a dot card that was specific to my pet portraits, which I'm very like, I have a method. I have a way that I go about it.
Ashley,
Yes.
Ashley, would you be able to speak again? You commented that you chose not to include Moonglow. Can you
Yes.
give one or two more examples of colors that were really hard to
Oh, yes.
to reject off, to not include in the dot card, but
Yes.
the thought system between I chose this color for the dot card, but I gave up this one, and the thought system through that experience?
Yes, I love it. That is such a great question. Thank you. Yes, lavender almost killed me. So here's the thing about lavender. The eye of anybody, whether it's a human or an animal, the highlight of the eye is often blue tinted, especially if the photo has been taken outside. And I usually work from a reference. So if the photo's been taken outside, you're getting the sky reflection, and it's usually kind of a blue tint. And I was using lavender. And after kind of going through mixing some of the colors together, I decided to go with King's Royal Blue, which is just, it's so close to lavender, but it's just a little bluer. And I feel like they do both kind of have that like opacity to them, that like milkiness, if you know what I mean. So I decided to go with the King's Royal Blue, because if you just add a little bit of this quinacridone red to it, it's lavender. And so a lot of my choices were made because, like, for example, and I talked about this before Zoom started, I wanted quinacridone gold. But then I realized I can make quinacridone deep gold if I have the base of quin gold, and I can just add to it. I can add something else to it to deepen it, if that makes sense. And so that way I'll still have Quinn Gold, which is a fantastic base color. It's a great mixing color for greens. I'm like, if you want some olive earthy greens, Quinn Gold, a little bit of Quinn Gold, a little bit of ultramarine blue. Sodalite and Quinn Gold make some really cool greens. So yes, I don't have green on here. I mean, I had to get rid of, let's see what else we got rid of. Okay. I love German greenish raw umber, and it does reside on my palette still. I still use all the colors. It's not like I'm like, these are the only colors I use now. These are just colors I feel like you could get away with. You can, you can do so much with these. But I still have other colors that I use, just like Angela said, and I'm always discovering new colors. Lucy said, which is Ashley's favorite for play paintings? Oh my gosh. That's such a hard question. I love to play with like hot pink colors, like your Potter's pink and your, not Potter's pink, that is not a hot pink color. Excuse me, opera pink. Opera pink, quinacridone pink is one of my favorites. And I love making like really bright, like I'll take nickel azo yellow and add like ultramarine or phthalo blue. I just love, because so much of my work that I get paid for is these earthy colors. When I play, I want bright, I want fun, and I live in an area where we have really long winters. And so I like to get out the vibrant, bright colors and just go crazy. So thank you for that question.
Actually,
Yeah.
did you consider the light fastness of the colors when you chose them?
Sort of. I don't worry about light fastness as much. However, with these being pet portraits where I'm selling it to a client, they're going to have it on their wall. We want it to last. I did think about it. But I wouldn't say I agonized over it. And I do advise my clients, make sure you put it under glass, make sure, don't hang it in direct sunlight. So I actually heard someone say once that they love using opera pink and which is considered fugitive, and they love using like the alizarin crimson. I think Michael said it last week, and somebody asked, well, that's not the permanent version. Why would you choose that? And he's like, because I love it. It's so beautiful. And I just hope that over time, these gorgeous paintings that I'm making, as long as this isn't me saying this is someone else. They said, I can't remember who it was. They said that I hope that if I get my values right, that even if that color fades over time, the painting is still going to be beautiful. So I kind of, most of the colors that I have here, I feel like are pretty decent as far as light fastness. Thank you. That was a good question.
Yeah, they're all light fast.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
majority
So
of those are too. So 100 years or 100 plus. So
sure.
the opera
Yeah.
pink would be the only one that would be fugitive, except for the alizarin crimson. But the opera pink would have quinacridone magenta underneath it. So it's still not going to go away.
As far as like I said, I love neutral tint. I run out of it all the time. Neutral tint can get so black. So here's an example of a painting where I was able to achieve this velvety. I'm gonna raise this up. So this background on this horse, this is neutral tint. Just this velvety, and I was talking to Lauren McCracken when we were in Bologna, and we were talking about his blacks and how to achieve that, and so we had a fun conversation. He uses his mixture, which is the McCracken black, and then he talked about like his technique, which would have been good to know when I did this. I got a little scratch on this poor baby, but this painting was done with all my dot card colors. So if you look at this little pink nose, I really just a little bit of, I think what I did was the quinacridone red, just really watered down with just a hint of that Potter's pink. And so you get this soft, I mean, if you've ever had a horse or you've ever petted a horse, like you can almost like feel the breath of the horse and just want to touch that soft velvety nose. We actually had to sell my daughter's horse last October, so I'm a little tender about it right now.
That's beautifully done, Ashley.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you.
Ashley, what colors did you use for your black to make that intense black?
That is neutral tint.
Really?
Yes. So it's just layers and layers of neutral tint. And I can't tell you how many layers. I'm not sure on that. It's not 8 layers like Rajat. Rajat was showing us a beautiful painting that he's working on. I'm sure he'll show it next week. Yeah.
Ashley, did you layer neutral tint over and over, or did you scrub it in more thick?
Nope, I just layered it. I would put down a layer, let it dry, put down another layer. And that painting, I would kind of do a layer and then I would just set it aside for a day or two. And then I'd come back to it and do another layer. And so it wasn't all in one sitting. It had a lot of time for that paint to dry.
But each layer was done at the same time, correct?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Well,
Like all in the same sitting?
Yes, each layer that you applied with the neutral tint, you did the entire surface.
Yes. Yeah, you have to really, with
Right.
achieving that kind of depth, that was the first time I've ever done that. And so it was,
Time
you
consuming.
have to be careful with how much water you use.
Oh.
And I think I did layer it on pretty thick, but I started with a thin layer and then each layer kind of got less watery and a little bit thicker.
Right. You didn't have an undercolor of anything else, correct?
Nope. Nope. All neutral tint.
Good.
So that's yeah.
Ashley, have you tried with a lunar black, for those sort of black background, like, layers? Have you ever tried that?
No, I haven't, but I did see your painting where you did the lunar black on the background. I wouldn't have
Right.
even believed you could achieve that because to me, lunar black, I usually water it down so that I can kind of get that really cool, like swirly granulating effect. I have used it on a parrot's beak before, which was
Right.
really amazing. But yeah, great question.
Ashley,
What
did you use a large brush on that? Because I know one of the things I have a hard time with doing beautiful backgrounds like that is just it's so smooth and velvety. And
I don't remember.
I have a hard time getting like not seeing brush strokes.
Yep. Yes. This was, this was tedious. And I believe I used something like this. This is a synthetic, just like a synthetic brush. And it's not super soft, but it's not super stiff. And I remember doing this because it was so tedious along the edge of the horse. And I just remember having to be careful. And then I also needed to retain, this is kind of the horse's shoulder here, and I needed to retain that. And so I just remember just layer after layer after layer. And I normally don't do backgrounds. You guys saw you've seen my pet portraits. I normally don't do a background, so that was new for me.
The
It's
result
really
is
amazing. It's so beautiful.
Thank you. My friend's horse passed away. She was staying with us, and while she was here, she brought her 2 horses with her from California, and both of them passed away within a month of each other. And these were horses she had had for 28 years. So
Actually,
it was, yeah.
Did you paint your horse first or your background first?
I painted the horse first. Yeah, I did the
It's a
horse first.
beautiful composition. Beautiful composition.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, you see there was some rust on the wood. I used,
Yes.
anytime you have rust, I love the transparent red oxide for rust. It's such an amazing color. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure you can see the granulation. I used burnt umber quite a bit on this, the face of the horse. And then a little bit of burnt sienna in the spots where it needed to be a little warmer, redder. And then, ooh, I want to tell you what I did for the eye. You guys, my studio is a disaster right now. I just got paintings all over the place. See, here you go. So shadow. my neutral tint for the shadow, the background. And then for, I think for the eye, I did burnt tiger's eye. And I got this and I mixed it with neutral tint. I almost got like this purple, I don't know, but that's what I ended up doing kind of in the highlights of the eye. So anyway, I digress. This dot card has just come from 2 years of doing the same, like doing this work over and over and ending up choosing the same colors over and over. And I wasn't necessarily meaning to choose the same colors. It just kind of became an organic process. So as far as like my choosing, this is the madness, this is just some of the madness that I went through to choose my colors. And here's where I had to cross lavender out, I believe lavender's there. Yeah, and I actually back to Anna Marie's question. So one of the colors I opted not to use was quinacridone pink, and that's my go-to pink. But in that time, I had just discovered quinacridone red, which to me is such a great. It's almost it's not really a red in my mind. It's more magenta. And so I wanted to have 3 primaries on my dot card where you could make essentially any color that you need. And so I just want to show you really quick my 3 primaries. I'm going to circle them on my card for you. And these are so fun to play with. So here we've got my primary yellow from day 1, since I discovered Daniel Smith, Nickel Azo Yellow. Gosh, I love this color. So nickel azo yellow is my primary yellow. Quinacridone red is my primary red. And then ultramarine blue, of course, is such a great go-to granulating blue. But with that being said, I don't just have one set of primaries on here. I've got kind of like, if you want to get some more earthy mixes, I've got quinacridone gold as my second yellow. So that would be my second primary yellow. And I think Michael had the same kind of thought process when he talked last week about having 2 different primaries. Maybe like a cool and a warm primary, I guess is what people would say. And then if you want to stick with the Quin red for that, you can, but then you can also play around with some brownish reds or some Potter's pink. Just any of these more like pinky red colors for your primary red are really, really fun. And then the King's Royal Blue is really fun to play with as your primary blue. Your Payne's Gray and your Nickel Azo Yellow, you're going to get some really beautiful greens out of that. Some of the biggest decisions that I made had to do with noses. I love noses. Animal noses are so much fun, especially dogs and cats. And so I really wanted some colors that were going to give us that texture that dogs and cats and, horses. That's the thing, is that animals have so much texture. The eyes, the nose, here in the muzzle, what are we calling that? There's another one. And I've talked about this before. Potter's pink for those bloodshot eyes. And I didn't even have to do anything to it. It kind of just granulated on its own and gave us those like veiny bloodshot eyes. I love this dog so much. And then, yeah, so for that nose texture, you could do Sodalite Genuine, you can do Payne's Gray. It just depends on the temperature. The temperature you're trying to go for. So I did a dog once that's a black and white dog, and it just felt like I should use Sodalite Genuine for black. And so the dog almost looks kind of more blue. But it was so fun the way it turned out. And then I think I've got some Minnesota Pipestone Genuine, one of my favorite Primatech colors. Is just, it's pinkish. That right there. It's brownish, but it's pinkish. It's such a great color. And so that's why, I mean, a lot of these colors are quite similar. You know, I actually had somebody look at my dot card and they were like, that's boring. Look at all those browns, you know? And I thought, well, wait till you see what I can do with it.
You do amazing things with it.
Thank you, Caroline. Here's my little raccoon. This one, I used a lot of the Piemontite. Am I saying that right, John? Piemontite?
Yeah, that's good.
Piemontite? Okay.
Yeah.
I always just think of like pie, like apple pie, because it's kind of
Yeah.
that color. So I always think Piemontite. Okay. So that's kind of these shadowy areas here. And then I've got some like yellow ochre. I think I put in some transparent yellow oxide on this one. And then, oh, I had just discovered green gold. I usually don't do a background, but I wanted this to pop. So yeah, this is green gold all in here, which is not on my dot card, but boy, is that a fun color.
So I call the extra colors the adopted children that come in occasionally.
The orphans. Yeah, here's some more, Anna Marie, for you. Some colors that just couldn't stay. Buff titanium. And that was on Angela's card. So Angela got to take my buff titanium. And then yellow ochre.
Took
I
also
actually
the blue that you had
what's
to
that?
leave.
Buff titanium.
Sorry, I said that I also took the moon glow that you had to leave out. So don't
That's
worry.
right.
And
You did, yeah. So that's kind of why I was okay with it, because I looked at everybody else's dot cards and I'm like, well, if I just choose all the same colors that are the favorites of everybody else, like what's the point, you know? So I wanted something a little bit more unique to what I do. So burnt tiger's eye genuine, I didn't keep. I still use it all the time. I felt like I could achieve what I needed with some of these other colors. Burnt sienna. I really feel like, and if you guys, if you haven't tried the transparent oxides, the transparent yellow, red, and brown, I highly recommend them. So transparent yellow oxide you can use in place of yellow ochre. Transparent red oxide you can use in place of burnt sienna. See, there's the transparent red oxide. And it has just this gorgeous reddish, rusty granulation to it that oh, I love it. And then the transparent brown oxide you can use in place of burnt umber. I kept both on my dot card. Because the transparent brown oxide, its granulation is a little bit, this is not scientific, it's a little bit chunkier, if that makes sense. So yes, I have a lot of granulating colors, but they granulate so differently. Right? I mean, Lunar Earth, I couldn't keep on here, but it's here, it's in my palette. I still use it, but I couldn't look at that granulation that you achieve with the Lunar Earth. That's not like, it's got that chunky, almost like that lunar, the lunar violet and the lunar black. So granulation is not all the same. The way that those pigment particles settle into the paper, the way that they move, their size, and John has talked about this a little bit in this more sciencey way of saying it. But for us people who are layman terms, sodalite genuine, the way that granulates is different from Payne's gray. So when I was trying to choose these colors, I took also the nature of the granulation into account for what I was trying to achieve.
Very nice job, Ashley. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Angela. So from what I did really quickly, I see that cobalt teal blue seems to be the favorite among the dot cards. 35 have chosen cobalt teal blue. 28 moon glow. 24 ultramarine blue. 30 quinacridone gold. I thought that for sure would be way up there, but it's cobalt teal blue. So interesting. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Anna Marie. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. It's great to see all of you. Hope to see you tomorrow with the Artist Live. And I will see you Thursday of next week, but Friday I will be on my way to Taipei. So hope to see all you from Taipei. Bye-bye, everybody.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Angela.
Thank
Ashley.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you.